When you light up, yeah, lights all over me.
I know it seemed like I turned my back, but it's far from true. How could I ever turn What's going on? What's going on? We back on another Sunday of the Transition Talk Show. I am your host, Train. Appreciate you guys who been tuning in, man, from Sunday to Sunday. If you have not yet, click that subscribe, hit that subscribe button, and click that bell. So every time we go live, man, you can be live with us. Today, man, I have a special guest in the house with me, good friend of mine, Lamont Levels, but better known as Buck. You know what I mean? Buckwheat. Man, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, just chilling, man.
Man, it's been good being able to bring you on the show, be able to talk to you. You one of those people, man, who authentic. The word that come to mind is authentic. You know what I mean? You're not a person who stays what life is or what life looks like. You know what I mean? Even from when it was, you know, whether it was doing music, whether it was in the streets, to where it is now, you know what I mean, as being a community leader and really trying to make a change around some of the things that you felt, you know, you had a cause in, you know, so kind of elaborate a little bit with me, you know what I mean, or let's just go on a journey, you know what I mean?
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
First off, I just appreciate you inviting me on. I appreciate being here. I love to get my message across and spread the word.
For sure, man. It was on my mind to actually do it when we was over in Pleasant Grove, over at Cherokee Village.
Right.
You know, where a young lady was murdered over in the apartment complex over, and we did the balloon release and everything. And I was like, man, you know what? Buck probably is probably the one person who I've known the longest that's been doing this the longest. Out of all of us, you know what I mean, who have made that transition in life, you were like the first.
Right, and it's a good thing to see people like yourself, you know, just coming along because, you know, we come from the same place, you know,
Yeah.
the streets, the hood, the ghetto, you know. So it's really good seeing this, but it all started with me because, you know, back in the days, just growing up, single parent mom, dad wasn't around. You know, when you don't have a father figure around, it's hard for a man to be raised by a woman. And it led me to, you know, like the streets. And my mom, she left Dallas, go back to California, you know, to get away from the drug addiction that she had. She felt like if she wasn't around any drug dealer she knew, how could she obtain it? So she went 100 miles away. Me, my brother, and then we ended up going to foster care. And that's when my like transition began. I was a straight A student. I love school.
Yeah.
But then it's like when I was placed in this environment, now I didn't care about nothing because all I was looking for was somebody to care about me.
Right.
You know. And then, you know, begin engaging in certain things to where now I'm out in the streets. I'm selling drugs, I'm stealing cars, I'm, you know, committing robberies. I'm doing all these type of things, you know, not caring about my life.
Yeah.
But I still wanted more. So in the process, me and a group of my friends, you know, we just said, come on, let's start a family. So we started 415. This was the first blood gang that ever invaded Dallas streets. You know, we started, you know, looking for love, protection, starting a family, those type of things. We didn't ever just sit down and do the blueprint on destruction that it was going to cause. Well, time passed. I'm in the gang. I'm one of the leaders, one of the founders, and I mean, you know, you're responsible for a lot of people's lives. I wasn't even just thinking about my life.
Right.
But January 2nd, 2001, my life changed. I was shot in my temple. I was doing a drug deal. And my own friends, they abandoned me. They left me there, you know. I still believe to this day that they had something to do with it, you know. But in the process, I lost my eyesight. It caused me to be blind. I'm totally blind. I have no light perception. That means I can't see shadows or anything. So that day, I was in my hospital bed, and I was waiting for all these friends to come visit me, who I took to the club and bought this, and then none of them come visit me. But the greatest friend in the world came, and that was God, and he was like, change your life.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm going to use you. You're my new vessel.
Yeah.
So, you know, I thought about it. End up going and speaking at a boot camp and just the way the kids received me. Because if before I was doing nothing, I was just sitting in the house crying.
Yeah.
Wonder why I was abandoned again. First I'm abandoned by my mom, now I'm abandoned by my gang.
Yeah.
So I'm in the house crying. I'm this big gangster giving orders, but I'm in there shedding tears. I'm like, oh my God. So, but when I went to the boot camp and I spoke, and those kids felt what I felt, and they was crying and they requested me every week, I felt like that was something that I needed to do and had to be done. So I started speaking maybe in 2002, and I've been speaking ever since. I try to use every platform I could get my message across.
Man, and it's crazy because, man, it's been so many times I know you hear me say, Train, do this, say, Train, man, you need to do this, say, and I wasn't there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you said something that was real key. Like, it was like, I just wanted to be cared for. You know what I mean?
Right.
So in the midst of me needing care, I stopped caring. You know what I mean? And that's kind of funny how that worked, because I kind of understand how that feel. You know what I mean? Man, I know when it was me, that was the exact same thing. Like, I just didn't care no more.
Right.
And it was because I felt like I didn't have that.
Right.
So it was like, why hold on to something you ain't got? Go ahead and do something else. That'll make you feel better than trying to worry about something that you don't have. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it took me on a downhill spiral, even though I thought I was spiraling up.
Right.
You know what I mean? It took for me to, go to prison a few times. It took for me to, to get shot. It took for me to, to realize that I almost took somebody else's life. You know what I mean?
You know what? You was blind then.
Yeah.
That's when you was blind.
Yeah.
People don't understand that. Now you see.
Now I see.
Like I tell people all the time, I was blind, but now I see it. It took God to close my eyes in order for me to see what life was really, how life was precious and how we really needed. And people don't understand that you could affect somebody no matter whether you're negative or positive.
Yeah.
You can lead them down the wrong way, or you can lead them in the righteous way. Yeah. So we affect people every day of our life. So you was blind then, and when I used to tell you, come on with the right, sometimes, you could tell a person something, but it won't reach them. They have to be touched sometimes. Mm-hmm. Especially those ones that, like me and you, we was invested, highly invested, because we probably creators of our gangs. We protect our neighborhoods. We gave so much back, and we put so much in. So it was gonna be hard for people to talk to me, talk to you like people used to talk to me before, but I never listened.
Yeah.
Then like I used to tell you, come on, get on this side, but it took God to touch you sometime, and that's what it's gonna take for a couple more people out there too. Yeah. God just to touch
and
you.
The crazy thing is, man, I was a runner, from this life. I was a runner, and it was funny because I would see it, or I would have visions about it, but I was like, I don't want it.
You were Jonah.
Yeah,
you know Jonah. You were running.
Yeah, and I tell people this, man. I said in life, man, you're gonna either be two people. You're either gonna be Job or you're gonna be Jonah.
Yeah.
You either gonna already, confess and admit to it and stand strong on it, or you're gonna find yourself running and still have to stand up on it.
And see what they don't mean by when I say you Jonah because you running from God.
Yep.
But the well ain't swallowing you up. Society's swallowing you up.
Same will.
And when society swallow you up, and then you going through the trials and tribulations, then you finally get on your knees and you say, God, bring me. Society spit you out.
Yeah.
But you got to understand, you can't go back in those same waters. Yeah. That was detrimental and that was hazardous to you. A lot of people like to go fishing in the same water where they don't catch nothing, or go fishing in the same water to where a big storm come and, they want to keep testing that water. You got to learn not to test that water sometimes.
Yeah, that's real talk, man. Man, the crazy thing is I'm sitting up and I was listening to you, because you saying some stuff right now I ain't even know. You know what I mean? I know from the relationship that we've had from that point on, you know what I mean? Not from before that.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And it's crazy, man, how you going through foster care.
Yeah.
And what that does to a person. Because for me, I didn't go through no foster care, but I went through families.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was the same feeling. And it was like no matter who I was with that loved me, it wasn't like the love that I wanted from my mother.
Right.
It wasn't like the love that I felt I should have had from my father, you know, and by those things not being, whoever was giving it to me, it was hard to reciprocate it.
Right.
You know, so going out into the streets, crazy how you accept, you know what I mean, the worst when you potentially had, you know what I mean, what you actually needed at that time, but just not being able to see it. You know, so it's just funny that you said that, man, because none of us really wanted the life that we lived.
Right.
And that's what I try to tell a lot of kids, like, you don't want the life that you live. You're only living it because of what you feel you don't have. You know, but if you take a look at it, you can really begin to see what you really do have.
Right.
And you can invest in that and allow that to grow. You know, and the rest of the things in its own time, in its own space, in its own moment, it has its way of coming back to you. You know, but if you don't, you can lose that because you can lose your life.
Right. I try to let my life experiences help guide me for my future. See, a lot of people don't know what I've done with what I've been dealt with mentally. The foster care just a little bit. You know, I saw my first murder at the age of 7 in the game room.
Yeah.
You know, in there playing the game, and the dude walk in, shoot the man, kill the man who run it. That was my first murder that I ever seen. A year later, a guy come in my house where we live. My mom was hiding her best friend, and her boyfriend come over there, her husband, whatever, come, kick our door in, shoot her in the head. My brother had to wrestle him down. So I'm already seeing violence at a young age.
Yeah.
Years after that, I'm getting molested by a woman. So people look at my lifestyle and say, oh, Buckwheat done had a lot of women. Yeah, that's because people don't know what I dealt with when I was younger. Maybe me being molested by a woman caused that, you know, in me. So people don't understand that we got to seek therapy out here. That's why I go to therapy, you know. I sit down in front of somebody and let them know, hey, how I feel. And, you know, we all need a little guidance because we don't know the direction that God want us to go, you know, because we don't tap in. You got to tap into that spiritual side. And, you know, I was tapped in early at a young age, and, you know, I love to go to church. I was in the choir. People don't even know that. You know, I was one of the lead singers. You know, I got away from church, went to the streets. Then guess what? I tried to go back to church, train. And the week that I stepped in church was the same week that I got shot.
Wow.
God said, no, you can't take him, because the devil was mad at me. The devil was mad that he think I'm like, what am I doing out here?
Man, that's crazy that you even said that. But I'm gonna tell you about it when we come back from this quick video, man. And when we come back, we're gonna start right back there.
Okay.
You know, reintroducing yourself, man, back to God. Yeah, it's crazy, bro. Like
We leave them mad, we leave them. Do them bad, we do them. Leave them mad, we leave them. Do them bad, we do them. Ride sitting on 24s, Vogues or some low pros. Lit up like the skyline in Dallas with the underglow. You don't stand a chance with 200 on the dash. Music blasting when I pass, I'ma leave these niggas mad. We leave them mad. We leave them mad, we leave them mad. Do them bad, we do them bad. Leave them mad, we leave them mad. Do them bad, we do them bad. I can do the low pros with these Dallas potholes, so I had to switch them up to the 22-inch folds. When the kids see my car, they holler goals. Got the kickers for the lows, missing highs made by bows. Camaro got a Corvette engine in it. I'm smoking out the intersection, peeling. Doubled up the 5% so you can't see who in it. You pull up next to me, I guarantee you will not win it. On green, we spinning, and now we don't do stock. Swap the motor block. Change out the exhaust so you can hear me up the block. I need the epic center with the dual mono block. And the 612s like Webby when I'm beating up your block. Ride sitting on 24s, Vogues or some low pros. Lit up like the skyline in Dallas with the underglow. You don't stand a chance with 200 on the dash. Music blasting when I pass, I'ma leave these niggas mad. We leave them mad. We leave them mad, we leave them mad. Doing bad, we doing bad. Leave 'em mad, we leave 'em mad. Doing bad, bad.
We back on the Transition Talk Show. Again, I am your host, Train, and I have my special guest in the house, Buckwheat, with me. Man, we're going to, like I said, we're going to take back off. I'm going back to the church because, man, it's just funny when you say it because I remembered when I got out of prison the first time, the first place I went, man, I went to church, to my family church, right?
Right.
You know, and man, the service was real good. It just moved me to the point to where I went all the way to the front. You know, when they say, if you have a testimony or you need prayer or whatever, I go way up there to the front, man. I told them people that I want to come back to church, you know what I mean? And I want to be involved, and I'm serious, right?
Yeah.
And in my heart, I really was. But it took 7 days, bro. 7 days after saying that. That next Sunday, I went right back. Because one thing I ain't gonna play with the God I know. You know, and I went right back, man. Went right before them people and told them I'm leaving and I ain't coming back. And it was because I knew inside of me I wasn't done with these streets.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't done with the lifestyle that I had developed to make a life for myself.
Right.
And I wasn't going to be straddling the fence. I wasn't going to do none of this stuff that, you know, how I was taught then and what I knew about, you know, faith or religion, you know what I mean? So I exited. And to be honest with you, I didn't go back for a long time. I just recently joined the church, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like just recently, but it was because I have enough understanding now. I have enough wisdom now. I have enough of myself to be able to go, you know what I mean, and to be able to fellowship in that space and to know that, man, this is a space that liberates my life and not take my life.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when you had said that, man, it was I resonated with it so much because I was done, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and I think what it is that whenever you come to that point and you realize that, man, you know, you face to face with God, right?
Right.
And when it ain't nothing else in the way, hey, man, it's a perfect relationship.
See, when the devil know your power, he gonna come at you full strength. Like I say, for me, it was just a family friends day. You know, I was going as a, you know, friend, and when I got there, I enjoyed it. It was something that I had missed from my childhood. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be at church next Sunday. Boom, boom, boom. But I didn't even get the opportunity, you know, because maybe it was God saying, okay, you saying you come back to church, but you can't be still out there engaging.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to go do a drug deal turn robbery, and look what happened. And I'm thinking that my friends were going to be there for me, but, you know, when I was sitting at home and I was wondering where all these people were that, you know, like I said, I had took care of. I had let sleep at my house. I had, you know, sacrificed my freedom, my time for when I'm around no more. So I was like, okay. I had a long discussion with God, and God say, all you need is me. You don't need nobody. So people say, how did I like transition from having 20/20 sight to total darkness overnight, and then now I still get out? It took me about a month.
Yeah.
You know, to get through it, and I said, okay, I'm gonna get up one day. And it all started because my son walked in. He was 6 at the time. He walked in the room. He was on punishment for a month. He was ready to go outside. He was looking for his jacket. I told him his jacket was over there. He grabbed it, but he noticed that I was crying. But I never wanted to cry in front of my sons, my kids, or nobody. Because I didn't never want nobody to, you know, feel what I was going through.
Right.
I didn't want to put that burden on nobody. So he noticed he wouldn't go outside, so he began to just try to cheer me up. He would tell jokes and everything on his friends, and the more he make me laugh, the more I cry.
Yeah.
So then he read a scripture. I knew he couldn't read at the time, but I knew he went to church. He could recite scriptures.
Yeah.
But it was like the perfect scripture. So I was like, man, I'm affecting a 6-year-old kid.
Yeah.
So that next morning, I put on a fake smile. And I walked outside for the first time through the projects. And you should have seen how, if before then, I would walk up to people and they'll feel my pain. They'll be like, sounding sad and it's gonna get better. But I walked out with a smile on my face, Trey. I got a big smile on my face, and everybody say, man, you looking good. I could feel the excitement and because they see me smiling.
Yeah.
They say, oh, if he all right, I'm all right.
Yeah.
That's when I learned how effective that I was throughout my community.
Right.
So I said, God gonna use me and I'm gonna let him use me up. So that's when I just got out and I started engaging and speaking, and I've probably spoken over to 500,000 kids in the last 20 years.
That's a blessing, man. What drives you? You know what I mean? What keeps that drive?
What keeps that drive is what things that go on in our community every day.
Yeah.
When I wake up and I see the stupidity and the ignorance that our black people display,
Yeah.
I want to change that, So my mission was gang activity.
Yeah.
Keeping kids out of gang. My mission now is more as an activist, a black activist.
Yeah.
Black empowerment, black power for our people. It kills me, it destroys me that we as black people are in last place of the race.
Yeah.
But we in last place, but we second when it comes to capitalism and making the consumer and spending money in America.
Yeah.
We hold that title.
Yeah.
So we spend more money than Hispanic, Asians, and probably everybody besides, white people.
Yeah.
But look, we still ignorant because we still have nothing.
Yeah.
So that's my main focus right now. I'm trying to go through the communities and get black people to come together, support one another, help one another, stop fighting one another. We'll never get nowhere until we change ourselves.
Right.
We blame the white man, we blame everybody for our downfall. No, we got to help ourselves. That means we got to put the people in the places that we need them to be in.
Right.
If we want to cry about our court system, we got to put the judges, the black judges in there that's going to have compassion for us.
Right.
If we want to cry about what goes on in our city, we got to put the politicians in those seats that's going to make sure that we their main concern.
Yeah.
That's what we got to start doing.
The crazy thing is, man, like there's a lot of things that's being taught, right?
Right.
But what they're not teaching us is those things that allow us to make the greater difference. They teaching you to go vote, but that's presidential election. That's not doing. It has nothing to do with
the president. Can't do nothing in our city.
Exactly.
So we got to start with our city officials. We got to start with our councilmen, our mayors, and our city managers. Those are the people that we got to start with.
Exactly, and that's where we fail at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got to look at the 2-year elections before you look at the 4-year elections, and you got to understand that, man. That's how you make the greater difference. But we also got to. It's like a lot of kids, man. Still, I was just talking with a pastor yesterday. A lot of these kids, man, we still, as a black race, we still believe sports is our way out, not education, not academics. You know what I mean? So we popularize things that it's only 1 or 2% that make it.
That's what I was just going to say. We just believing in sports and waiting on sports. It ain't going to be too many of us get up out of here.
Yeah, you know. But but we're not looking around and seeing how change is not really happening. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if the change is happening, it's not us who creating the change.
But we got to understand that even if sports, if we could look at it like this, okay, sports our way out. What if, okay, we start dominating all the sports? They're going to put a clause or something in there, a speed bump in there to where we still cannot be successful until we control our own destiny.
Yeah, but you got to look at it like the NFL, right?
Right.
You don't have no black owners. We want to play the game, but we don't want to own the game.
That's why I say we got to control our own destinies. Look what they doing to our rappers right now.
Yeah.
Our rappers have to be gangsters. If you're not a gangster, if you're not spitting explicit lyrics or dogging a female or cursing every 5 minutes and all of that, or smoking blunts or popping pills, then you're not going to get no radio time.
Right.
You know, so now look what type of position they done put our young men in. They have to be this certain type of guy in order to make money.
Yeah.
And half of these young kids out here losing their life, portraying their roles as rapper gangsters now, you know, they good kids.
Yeah.
Great kids, smart kids, you know, but they just being misled. So we got to break all those chains. We got to break all those barriers that have been placed in front of us to keep us from succeeding. We can have black doctors. Come on, first heart surgeon, black man. Come on. Why people don't understand? Carver, he invented the car. Why you think the car is named the car? After Carver.
Yeah.
You know, so we got to educate our young black people more that they could be whatever they want to be and do whatever they want to do.
I mean, and the thing is, you know, we all know the problems, you know what I mean? But when it comes down to solution basis, this is where we having the issue at, you know, and we have to really put more focus on solutions and solutions that we know fits or work, because it's not something that somebody at the head is trying to figure out to make up, but it's someone that's, you know, that's in those trenches, you know what I mean?
Right.
That they have a role and they have a say in the life of themselves that's going to help make it better. You know what I mean?
You know where it starts?
I'm listening to you.
Parenting.
Say it again.
Parenting. Parents.
Man, say.
That's where it starts at.
Don't make my viewers leave.
That's where it starts at. Parenting. People don't understand that. Margaret County Head Start was the #1 Head Start in the whole United States. They had people coming from Florida just to emulate and mock what they was doing, just because they had the #1 success rate, but guess what caused it? They had the highest parent participation throughout any Head Start in the country. The highest parent. See, when you get them parents involved, sky's the limit for our youngsters.
Yeah.
But we got kids raising kids now. You know?
I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things is that, man, when you are having kids so young and you still feel like you haven't lived your life yet, you know, you still trying to live your life and put these kids off until, you know.
That's why we got to teach them, when you have a baby, you got to grow up.
Yeah.
You getting out the house, you getting a job. This is your responsibility, not mine. I'm just a grandparent. I want to do grandparent things, you know. So that's what we got to make them own that and take control of that, you know. And that's what we don't do as parents, you know. I'm a big believer that, you know, we got to get back to, you know, discipline them. A lot of people say, oh, it's not my child, so I'm not worried about it. Yeah. But what if it affects your child later on in life, to where that same kid you could have talked to and gave some advice to and probably would have listened. Yeah. But that same kid later on next week shoot up a crowd and your son gets shot. When you could have avoided, you could have stopped it. Yeah. You know, warning signs come before destruction all around. They came to me. He showed me so many times, 46 of my friends going to the federal penitentiary. Friend after friend, I got shot in the car. I got shot up in the car. One of my friends died. One of my friends shoot and kill a boy in front of me. You know, another one of my friends, I'm in the car with him. He gets shot and he died. God was showing me, but I never would look and listen. Yeah. So he said, I've got to touch you myself. So the warning signs be there. It's our parents, and people don't understand that. A lot of parents out there, they entice their kids to go out there and hustle. The hell with light bills, water bills.
Man, yeah, that's true. You know, it's sad.
I ain't trying to run your viewers off. I hope none of your viewers are bad parents, man.
No, man. You know, that's the beauty of the show, man. The show is all about transitions, and this is what it's all about.
Yeah, we got to get the point out there.
Yeah, we got to understand that being in one space that doesn't hinder you from making it to the next. It only promotes that. You know, if you never did know what right was, how you gonna know what wrong was? You know what I mean? If you didn't never know good, you don't know bad. If you don't know bad, you don't know good. You know, like, these things are balanced. But it's when you choose to live in one, you know what I mean, without exploring the other to have a true understanding for yourself.
Right.
And that's the thing that happens in our neighborhood is that it's so traumatized and it's so acute to it's so normal that, man, you don't believe in the good.
Right.
So you don't try it. You know what I mean? The first thing you want to do is I want to try the pack. You know what I mean? I want to try the corner. I want to try the streets. I want to try the gang. I want to try this gun. Rather than, believe in that dream. Because one thing I learned about dreaming, it'll always show you the outcome, but it didn't show you how you got there. Don't teach you that.
Don't take away the best moments of my life. When I dream, I can see people, man. I see stuff, man. Don't take that away from me.
But that's the thing. Like, man, you gonna see the vision.
Yeah, you will.
But how you gonna get there, you don't see. So you got to be willing to go through.
Right.
You got to have that type of zeal about yourself that, man, I can go through anything. Don't mean that I want to go through anything, but, man, with a cause and a purpose, I can.
Right.
And we lose that cause and we lose that purpose because you have it young, but then you go through so many struggles and so many trials and so many situations, you let it go. And so then you just take on the trial, on the struggle, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then try to make this become the best life that it can be, and it never become the best life.
Because you get adapted to it. You get immune to it. You think it's good, but it ain't good for you. Mm-hmm. So that be the whole thing, because when I was out there, I thought that was the best time of my life. I wasn't worried about getting shot, or I wasn't worried about dying. I was never worried about going to jail. Even though those things was happening around me, and then some of them happened to me, I still wasn't never considering those things, Right. I was just like, oh, man, I'm living a good life, Right. But now that I look back and where I'm supposed to be at in life now, it's all because of what I did in my past, why I haven't reached my pinnacle. Yeah. I could have been done reach my pinnacle if I know what I know now. Yeah. But that's what we miss out on.
But I believe that where we at this moment is exactly where we was meant to be.
There you go.
You know what I mean? And I believe that everything that comes is because of every place that I chose. I allowed myself to be in when I was supposed to be there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You influenced many.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know I influenced many. And that's why I do what I do now. Yeah. It'd be sad for me to say, but like, why are your homeboys at? And I'd be like, my real homeboys I grew up with, they either dead or they in the pen. You know, some getting out now. Like when my boys get out, I be like, hey man, you original. Please stay out here with me. I don't know these new cats out here, man.
But and I think that what we get life real misconstrued and twisted by looking at that word real.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because really, matter of fact, let's go to a video right quick. We're gonna be back with that, man.
Okay.
Yeah, real, bro. It's something about that.
You can't stop a river, it must flow. Slow down, let it go. Everything is energy, just let it flow. Wolf in sheep's clothing, we know that disguise. No more can we sit with those negative vibes. So help me, Father, that I am not weak. Don't let me give up on the light that I see. Help me to be humble and make me more me. Keep the ground solid underneath my feet. You are my salvation, buckler and sheep. Slow down, let it go. You can't stop a river, it must flow. Slow down, let it go. Everything is energy, just let it flow.
That's my song right there.
Is it?
Yeah. We back on the Transition Talk Show, man. Man, let's pick back up on this, man. You said real,
Being real.
being real. How? This just me. You know what I'm saying? This just me. I really don't even like hearing people saying or even telling me, say, man, I'm real. Real at what? What makes you real? You know what I mean? Because to me, you sound like Pinocchio, wanting to be real.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
You really let me know, you know what I mean? You're controlled by something else because you're trying to prove a point. Real don't have to prove anything.
Real just be themselves.
A house is real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that house ain't sitting up telling you I'm a house for you to go into.
Right on.
You get what
Right
I'm
on.
saying? But if I got to tell somebody that I'm something, then quite naturally, I don't think that I'm what I think that I am, because the outside layers of you is not what's real about
Right
you.
on. Real is just being you.
Yeah.
Being who you are yourself 24/7 every day of the week.
Yeah.
Even if people don't like it.
But man, right now, we're literally living in a mental crisis.
Right.
And it's just because most people, they don't know themselves. So how real can you be? We don't even know how to express the fact that I am going through, and not even to try to reach out to get the proper help. How real am I being? If I'm knowing that I'm struggling, you know what I mean, inside, if I'm knowing that, I'm in a depressed state, if I'm knowing that I'm at a low state, why am I going to go out here, man, and go, man, let me go out here and go see if I can buy me a 3.5.
Don't you think that's scary? That's very scary. You being real with a person, then here comes the judgment. Now a person want to judge you for how you feel. If you say, like me, like I told, me being real back in the days, I tried to be as much as I could. Like if I didn't like you, I didn't want you around me. I don't fool with you. I don't like what I'm a fake for.
Yeah.
Just because, okay, this your partner, he want me to be. Nah, man, I don't like him. I don't want him around me.
Yeah.
And then now people start judging you just because you feel that way.
But I mean, just look at it. How many real people how many people who we know say they was real, but when they was in the worst situation, wasn't nobody there?
I don't know now.
So how real is that? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm claiming to be something, you know what I mean? And then I'm claiming to be this, but when I get into the worst situation, I'm there by myself.
I know, because I thought I was real. I thought I was real as I could get, but wasn't nobody there for me. Especially not none of those guys. I thought they were going to be there next day with blunts, big blunts, perfecto blunts. They wasn't there, man. I thought, what these dudes at, man? I done been shooting behind and sacrificing my life behind and feeding where they at, man. So it just showed me a lot about life. And that's what I love now. That's why I do what I do,
And I think that's the most genuinest thing right there, man. And I think that's the most realest thing, is being able to give your life back.
Right. You gotta especially when you've been through experiences, you gotta give yourself. You gotta be willing to give yourself. That's part of your work.
Yeah.
That's what God has for me, to give myself to everybody who's uninformed so they can be informed.
Right.
Yeah.
And being that you're talking about informed, man, I wanna touch on your nonprofit.
Now I See Incorporated. That's my nonprofit. I have another nonprofit. I'm in the process of getting solidified. I don't want to give the name because right now I just want to be able to get the name, but it is going to be just everything people will want from a nonprofit.
Right.
It's going to tap into everything, not just one aspect of life, but all aspects of life.
Right. But the one that I know that you have now, the name of it, what say the name again?
Now I See.
Now I See. Even when I went up on the page, you know what I mean? If a person just go and just look at the body of work that you would do, like to be blind, man, I believe that it really is real, that now is when you really can see, you know what I mean? Because you are doing so much, with so many.
Right. I try to spread myself. Like I did my first commercial for KRA PBS, and I was nervous. If you could go watch it, people run across. I was sweating to death. I was cotton mouth. I didn't know but it touched so many people. It felt good, like when I was out in the streets and people come up to me and say, "Oh, you're the guy from you got shot. Oh, God bless you. My son is, my nephew this, my cousin finished school." That's what keeps me going. That makes me feel good. So that's why I probably 20 years, man, I can't say how many speakings I done had, how many schools that I've been to, how many apartment complex where I get out and speak in front of it, and we give the chips, the food, and we bring all the other resources that a person need to. Also, I've countless times, and I'm just in the beginning of what God has for me. So you'll still see a lot of me.
For it to be the beginning, bro.
Yeah, it's just the beginning. I ain't even got started yet.
Hey, I'm glad I'm glad I'm one of them people who feel like I ain't never got to catch up to nothing.
And one thing I want people to say that I want people to know is that 98% of my speakings or where I've been it's all been voluntarily, non-compensation, because I'm being compensated at the end. God's gonna reward me. Because a lot of people used to be like, "Oh, you should demand this, you should demand that, no less than this," and God just say, "Hey, go for me."
Yeah.
You're getting paid.
Yeah.
That's why I don't worry about bills. I don't, when bills come up, don't think they don't come up.
Yeah, I know they do.
I get all type of bills.
I know they do.
But I never let them stress me out. I never worry, because you know what? I don't care if it's the day before. It always get taken care of.
Yeah.
And that's just God having me.
Man, I tell people, men only can give you an award, but God gives you the reward.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the reward feels much better than an award. And that's to take me out of the materialistic or the mundane world,
right,
and to place me in a greater space.
And I'm glad you're saying that, because I don't want people to think that this is an easy transition, and you might could contest this.
Yeah.
Even though people say, okay, it's a more safer life, it's more calmer and relaxing. But I was used to walking around with $40,000 in my pocket, being able to buy, do whatever I want. I had control of people. I could tell them to do this, do that, it get done. I had a lot of perks. But, people think it's just easy to give all that up and transfer and do right. No, it's a hard thing staying on course.
Man, you know what's so crazy? I wasn't even to a point to where I was ready to give it up.
Yeah.
It was just that my life was taking me in a point, in a direction that I had to give it up.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I had to trust. Like
that's the thing, trust. Yeah.
I mean, like
trust.
It was like, okay,
faith.
I'm all the way out. I'm all the way out the game, so I don't care.
Right.
But when my last bid in prison, while I was there, I made my mind up and said, I never sell coke no more.
Right.
That was it. I never sell coke no more.
Right.
Since I've been home, I have never sold coke again.
Oh, that's wonderful.
You know what I mean? But that didn't mean I wasn't dealing.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was just going to say, because, my thing was never coke.
Yeah, I never touched it again, never dealt with it. That aspect was totally over.
Right.
But that didn't mean it didn't open the door up for methamphetamine.
There you go.
That mean it didn't open the door up, for marijuana, you know what I mean? That didn't mean it didn't open the door up for heroin. That didn't mean it didn't open the door up for the cheese when the cheese hit, you know what I mean? All these things. So it was like, yeah, I may have stopped at this, but I wasn't truly ready to just let it go, you know what I mean?
Hey, that
my life moved in a way so it was like, okay, you said that, but you think you playing. You ain't that slick. I'm slicker. You know what I mean?
People don't understand that the lifestyle itself could be way more addictive than the drug that you take.
Exactly. Because it's like what you had said. You are at a point to where, man, I can do whatever I want.
Right.
I can go wherever I want.
Right.
I can have whatever I want.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that's a lot to give up. But the flip side is, and now I'm being totally clean, all that I lost, I've gained 10 times over.
Right.
See, the whole time I was hustling, I couldn't leave South Dallas because that's where everything was at.
There you go.
You get what I'm saying? Hey, I may didn't lay my head where my money was at, but my money was there. You know what I mean? Everything was here. Everybody who I associate with, everything was here.
Hard to get that up.
Hard to give it up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But the moment that I gave it up, man, it set me free. You know, like even going down the interstate and doing things.
It set you free, and then it set some kids who admired you and looked up to you. It set them free also.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's the good thing about it. I never did look at all the good that, you know, until it happened to me. Then I seen how many lives I started changing. People getting out of the gangs and people trying to do right. So that's the thing, you know, I look forward to.
And it's when they realize that you are genuine at what you're doing now. Because in the beginning, don't nobody believe because you lived that life so long. You know what I mean? But when you begin to shed that light on yourself and willing to walk in that light and be seen at everything that you're doing, it catches up with you, and then people see you for you are.
I got beat down. The hood beat me down when I transit, because you already know part of my story was, you know, hooking up with the police department, engaging with them. So a lot of my young brothers wouldn't be shot in the streets or just handcuffed and arrested. So I'm trying to find a way that we can mend this gap between the police department and our community. Oh man, I got slaughtered for it. I'm a pig. I'm a snitch. But you know, I never did let it bother me. The only thing that bothered me was the way people, you know, said things that affected my kids. You know, oh, your dad it is. I used to have to tell them, hey, don't worry about it. Them same ones that saying I'm snitching, them the ones on the paperwork. My name ain't on no paperwork. They the ones sitting in court pointing and all of that, you know.
But you know how naive a mind is?
Yes.
Because how you gonna be able to make a change if you ain't in the game?
How I'm gonna be able to snitch if I can't even see?
You get what I'm saying?
They can't use my testimony in no court.
But it's like, it's like when you in the streets, you know what I mean? You can't do nothing. You can't do nothing unless you in the game.
That's it,
right?
Man.
But now you trying to make bigger changes to help the streets.
They mad at you.
You mad, but hey, I gotta go over here. And if I'm gonna make some change, I gotta get in the game. It don't mean I gotta beat them.
And see, that's what they weren't understanding. My transitioning helped our community. They don't know how much I done brought in for the community. I done had money allocated and donated to the community. I done had certain things put in place for the community. I don't have to be up front and center every time to let people know, hey, I'm part of this. This is why this basketball court is being put down, or this why, you know, they getting extra this over here, or y'all could go to the Arboretum or y'all could go to Mavericks games or Cowboy games. You know, people don't understand that.
But you know, that's the street life. The street life glorified. I ain't in the street life, so I don't have to glorify myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the beauty about life, you know what I mean, now. And having that understanding, and it allows you to be able to just do the work that you have to do. You know, you're going to hear all those naysayers. You're going to hear all those things continuously. But that only mean at this point, I know I'm doing something right. You know what I mean? So keep talking, because I understand, man, it's working.
Right.
You know, so let me keep doing, man, what I'm doing now. Because I remember when I wasn't doing that, guess what? They wouldn't say nothing.
Nothing at all.
So I'm happy that you feel like you could talk now, because I remember when you wouldn't say a word.
Right on.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So I'm knowing I'm a better person now, better than what you saying. You get what I'm saying?
I don't even let them bother me anymore. They can't even distract me. It's just a distraction. It's the devil trying to send a distraction, and I don't let them distract me. I just keep forward. You can say whatever you want to say. It really don't matter to me. At the end of the day, I know, and that's what matters.
That's it, man. We're going to go to this last video, man, then we're going to come back and we're going to start wrapping up. But I want people, man, to be able to get in contact with you and, man, be able to really follow you and know all the things that you're doing. Okay. So we're going to go to this last video right quick. What was that in
there? I've been through some fucking real shit. So when I win, it's a real win. Every time I win, it's a real win. Oh, I've been through some fucking real shit. So when I win, it's a real win. Every time I win, it's a real win. Oh, don't appreciate who rockin' with you till you get abandoned by who rockin' with you. Don't appreciate the love till you feel the hate. When you appreciate the down, you can feel the great. Niggas gon' turn their back on you. See that you hungry and count racks on you. But oh, when tables turning, you doing laps on them. When you rolling up, they renting, they barely got cash on them. Remember that. All these faces, I remember that. Hospital chases, I remember that. Cooking up, I remember that. Losing faith, I remember that. Mama died, I remember that. Son died, I remember that. You went around, nigga, remember that. I been through some fucking real shit. So when I win, it's a real win. Every time I win, it's a real win. Oh, I've been through some fucking real shit. So when I win, it's a real win. Every time I win, it's a real win. Oh, don't appreciate that whip till you ain't driving in nothing. You gonna appreciate that real chick when you find you a scum. And you gonna appreciate who care for you when nobody cares. I swear you appreciate who there for you when nobody there. I swear these bitches gonna turn their back on you.
Hey, we back on the transition show. Hey, man, big shout out to Rojo and Sunshine Holloway, man. They've been tuning in, man. They've been talking in the lives and everything like that, man. So I want you to know you got some people, man, that's supporting you, watching you and everything like that. But, man, real quick, let them know how they can, reach you and everything like that, man. Come out and support the community as you always do.
Well, I don't have many social sites and everything, but they can contact me at Lamont Levels at hotmail.com. That's LamontLevels, all ran together at hotmail.com, and someone will get with them as soon as possible.
And I'll be sure, man, when it's over with, that I'll put a tag in there so they can be able to do that just as well. But, man, I appreciate it. If they want to
check out some of my work, they can go to youthconversion.org and just go to the crime prevention part of it, and you see some of the displays of work I done in the community and the people that I've done with.
Get them that name again, Buck.
Youth Conversion.
Man, that's what's up. Hey, you know what we didn't talk about, man? The music.
The music.
The music, man. And that's funny because that's where we first met over there at G-Related.
Yeah, linked up at,
yeah. What I mean? Over there at G-Related, man.
I hate the music ain't the same.
For real, man. For real. I mean, but you could do something about it.
Yeah. Right now, I got away from the music.
Don't sound like me, bro. Don't sound like me, man.
Yeah,
you sounded just like me.
Too much.
Man.
If I can't be an artist and be intellectual and show my intelligence through spoken words and be heard around the world just because people want me to dumb down and be, negative and, I don't even.
It ain't for me. Yeah. Man, got to paint a different picture. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and actually, the picture that you have began to paint, man, is beautiful, bro. You know what I mean? To be able to take a blank canvas.
No, the work that you do has been amazing, and like I've been telling everybody, like mentally, we all need to seek some help and counseling because we are affected through everyday life situations, harsh conditions, tragic situations. It's just like the PTSD. We have the community, disease. So it's like CTD, so it's affecting our community when kids get shot or they family members get killed out. Those kids need somebody to talk to. I never knew that I affected so many people, but most of all, I affected my kids.
Yeah.
My kids' life have changed dramatically just because of me being blind, So, I encourage people that go through things in their life to, try it sometimes. It'll help you out. I do it,
Yeah, it's important, man. Like the crazy thing is, it wasn't until I actually began to live inside of my transition that I did see how I affected people.
Right.
Not even just outside people, but I saw how I affected my family.
Right.
it was crazy that I had family members that was afraid of them, but didn't want to talk with me, didn't want me around because they didn't know how I may react or how I may respond. To now being able to be around and it's laughter. You know what I mean? It's jokes, and when people feel comfortable now that they can tell you how they once felt. You know what I mean?
Right.
It really did something to me.
I know what you said. I done had guys don't walk up to me and say, "Man, I could never be around you back in the days. I was scared of you, man." And I done had one partner that he's a Crip and I'm a Blood, and now we, hang together. We were laughing in the car one day, and he was just laughing. I was like, "What's up?" He was like, "Man, you don't remember who I am." I'm like, "Nah." And then he like, "Man, y'all chased us down. Y'all caught my partner. Y'all weren't gonna catch me." I was like, I felt so embarrassed, man. I say, he say, "Nah, we good now." I was like, "Yeah," but it just shows the maturity how you gotta be when you come along,
And I always feel like, my main thing I tell people, man, if it was me, it could be you.
Yeah.
Which means that, what I mean, if I'm able to change, I know you can change.
And that's why you've been chosen. That's why I have been chosen, because he's gonna pick the ones that people will follow, people will look up to, people are willing to learn from, and people who inspired, so that's why we have been chosen. So you just got to continue to let them use you and spread your gift, because I'm a be there. I'm a be there.
Oh, man, hey, man, I'm really just now getting started. So, it's going to be a long time before I stop, you know what I mean? And when I do, it's just because, man, it was my time was up here.
Just this one little thing I just want to tell you, because it's all nonprofit. But when I tell people, the only way you're going to be profitable if you use passion, not purpose.
Yeah.
Let your nonprofit be passionable and not purpose.
Yeah.
When you have that passion, you got a long drive. That's the only thing that keep me going, my passion.
Yeah.
Because if I was for a purpose, then I'm just for a profit.
Right.
And I'm not for no purpose. I'm for the passion side.
That's what's up, man. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to this Sunday, man, on the Transition Talk Show with my special guest, Lamont Levels, a.k.a., man, my partner, Buckwheat. You guys check us out next week with our next guest, who will be Katana Sykes. Check you guys out then.
I had to take my glass off, make them think I could see a little bit.
When you light up, yeah, lights all over
I know it seemed like I turned my back, but it's far from true. How could I ever turn my back on the chosen few? So what I do, look at me. In a picture was bittersweet. I did it for all y'all, but I never did do it for real. This is not turn on me. You say this is just turning to me. Knowing that I am